What's up, Shadowhunters, Angels, and Darkmothers alike, and welcome to Fair and Unbiased for episode 18 of Shadowhunters Season 2B, Awake, Arise, or Be Forever Fallen. Here's the problem. I have been sick since Friday, and I don't mean like a little bit sick, like proper, like vomiting, not able to get out of bed sick. So I'm recording this in bed, and I'm just going to have the video up like a podcast sort of thing with just a picture of me. I know that might make it difficult for a lot of people to concentrate, and I understand if you just want to skip this episode, but I promised I'd get the episode out anyway, so I'm going to try this format and hopefully it'll work. So let's give it a go. So the first thing I want to talk about is that one of my viewers pointed out in my first thoughts for this episode that in terms of Max not getting for the situation of Max not going the way it did in the books, maybe the show's trying to make it go a different way. Like maybe they're trying to make it that Max will have some brain damage from what Sebastian did to him, and he'll have to rehabilitate and retrain himself, maybe even, and he'll have to start again, and it could be that he could become like the first ever disabled Shadowhunter, and that would certainly be interesting. I think it would be certainly fascinating to watch the rehabilitation process and watch him retrain and watch him get better again. I don't think that if he was severely disabled, it would be possible for him to be a Shadowhunter. And I'm not saying this as a way as like, oh, disabled people can't be Shadowhunters. I mean as in like, there's a lot of physical work that goes into being a Shadowhunter, and sometimes their severe disabilities, unless like you knew how to like be like really quick if you were in a wheelchair and stuff like that, like if that's possible, then I understand. Like I'm not saying like, oh, you're disabled, you can't be a Shadowhunter, but there would definitely be a lot of obstacles there. But Max did seem like he was in relatively good condition when he woke up, so maybe it'll just take a wee bit of healing and a wee bit of retraining. And as I say, it would certainly be interesting to watch. As a viewer, it would be interesting to see him go through that rehabilitation process. So I'm not opposed to that. I know I said that I was upset that it didn't go the way it did in the books, but if it went that way, I would be definitely fascinated to see how they were going to work it. And it would certainly be something that I haven't seen on TV before. Like, I don't mean like I haven't seen people like rehabilitate. You see that in soaps and stuff all the time. I mean more like seeing like a disabled person like train and become like the way the Shadowhunters are, able to fight and able to defend and stuff like that. I think that would be cool for sure. I just hope like it isn't done in the way that it's unrealistic, like the way they did with Clary training a couple of times, and it's like, oh, she's a Shadowhunter. Like, you need to give credit to the rehabilitation process that people go through. You need to have it take time and a lot of energy and a lot of work. It's not easy. It's not something that you can just do. Like, you can't just go to like rehabilitation a couple of times and then, oh, magically better. It's not how it works. So if they are going that way, I hope they give it enough credit and realism. But if I wouldn't mind if they did that. I think it would be cool to see. So yeah, if that's the direction they're heading in, I'm not too annoyed by it. But as I say, as long as I keep it realistic and don't make it like insultingly quick, then yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Next thing to talk about is Malec. Malec was really had a weird kind of theme going on in this episode. Like, it was showing you things that we wanted to see, and then it was showing us things we didn't want to see, obviously, that being them breaking up. And it was an interesting kind of like dynamic to have going on. Like when you were seeing all the cute things, like Magnus and Alec's first time, what happened after episode 6, seeing all that stuff was like making us excited, but like we also had to remember that this was part of a flashback that Magnus was having to remind himself of the good times with Alec and whether it was worth it to break up with him or not. And sadly, this did result in him breaking up with Alec. And in the same way that I said last week that there's no black and white conflict, there still isn't. Like, Magnus has reason to be upset with Alec, and his reasoning saying that they have to both be leaders of their groups, Alec being in charge of the Shadowhunters, Magnus being in charge of the Darkworlders. They have their different areas of expertise, and if this Darkworlder revolt happens, then it's most definitely going to clash. I don't agree with Magnus going to the Seelie Queen the way he did. I think that he was acting out of irrational anger because of what Alec did, and I think that he's going to grow to eventually regret it. But I'm not blaming him because I understand why he acted the way he did. As I say, he was extremely hurt by the fact that Alec kept this from him. He was upset and he acted out irrationally. We all do it when we're upset. So yeah, as I say, it's very hard to kind of pinpoint who's to blame in this breakup, because Alec did what he did to protect Magnus in the Dark World, and Magnus did what he did out of irrational anger and fear, probably, for the fact that the Soul Sword is not with the Clave. So it's just hard to sort of go like you can't just turn to a character and go, oh, it was Alec's fault to hit that fiend, I'm so angry with him. And you can't turn to Magnus and go, oh, Magnus, why'd you go to the Seelie Queen, you're so evil, blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's not as simple as just sort of pinning blame on someone, and it's certainly a lot better place for the breakup than the way the breakup goes in the books. Again, I'm not going to say what leads to their breakup in the books because I don't know, maybe they'll try and do it later. Maybe they'll get back together and then they'll break up again. I hope not, because I don't want Malec to turn into the kind of couple where it's like, they're together, then they broke up again. They're together, then they broke up again, because that would just get tired and exhausting after a while. And it would become insulting that they're constantly breaking up like that, especially since I even find this breakup a bit unrealistic because it's built up how strong their bond with each other is. So it is a difficult situation, but if it was going to happen, then this is a lot more realistic scenario for it to happen than in the way it went in the books. And I'm actually glad that they gave a better reason than how it goes in the books, because both of them just act like dickheads in the books. And I'm not pinning. And in the book, you can't pin blame. Well, you can pin blame. You can pin blame on both of them because they're both complete and utter assholes to each other in the book. And I like it better when there's conflict like this, where they're trying to do what they're doing for good reasons. Like Alec kept the secret from Magnus because he wanted to protect him, and Magnus did what he did as a reaction to that. So you can't really get angry at either of them because they were doing things out of the goodness of their heart. Was what they were doing good? No, obviously not. Both of them have made mistakes. Now, Alec's mistake being keeping the secret, Magnus's mistake being going to the Seelie Queen. And where in the book they were both just complete and utter, they were just awful to each other in the books. It was ridiculous. And it became unrealistic that they got back together. And the way it was written, how they got back together, it was just like, really? That's underwhelming. Alright. I do trust the show to make this a lot more realistic and a lot more better. And I know there's probably people freaking out going, oh, Malec broke up, queer baiting, blah, 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 blah. Gay people do break up, people. It's not homophobic or queer baiting. It does happen. And I do trust the show to play this off better and make it more respectful and interesting and actually serve a purpose than actually just having it happen for drama's sake. Hashtag City of Lost Souls, where the breakup happens, just for drama. Literally, that's all that breakup is. It's just for drama. Whereas in the show, there's an actual reason for it, which I respect and I'm glad for. Because, as I say, gay people do break up with each other. The first person you meet isn't the person that you... doesn't necessarily have to be the person that you live the rest of your life with. But you need to have actual reason than just breaking them up for drama and then having them get back together a couple episodes later for not really the right reason. So I'll definitely be interested to see how they further play this off and how they further work on this. So yeah, I like how they're going with the Malec breakup. I obviously don't like that they broke up, but I saw it coming since it happened in the books, and they do follow bits and pieces from the books. And it broke my heart when Alec was near crying. Was he crying? He was he was either crying or nearly crying as Magnus was leaving, because he was just after going through all the trauma with Max nearly dying, and then his boyfriend breaks up with him. Must have been a very, literally, Alexander and the terrible, horrible, real good, very bad day. So I feel bad for Alec, and I feel bad for Magnus as well. I feel bad for all of them. And it doesn't help that they showed all the cutesy moments in the flashbacks, because it's such a juxtaposition to have all that cutesy stuff happening and then break up, and you're like, oh my god. You're like, no! Because there was such like a difference between when, in the first flashback, when Alec wouldn't even sit beside Magnus on the sofa, to then having them in bed together, about to have sex, and Alex saying to Magnus that he was beautiful with his eyes. And then they break up, and you're like, what are you doing to me, Shadow Hunters? You're messing with my emotions. I'm in a glass case of emotion, and I don't like it. Stop. But yeah, they did the breakup really well, and I'm really interested to see where they go with it. Simon, Maya, and Bat. Bat has been introduced as a character, and so has Jordan. And both characters do have roles to play in the story. They're not just there for the sake of being there. Jordan in particular has a lot of controversy that surrounds his character, especially in the fandom. It's kind of one of those things where he does something really well, we know what he done. He's the one who turned Maya. So I'm not revealing anything by saying that. She did admit that. Jordan is the one who turned Maya into a werewolf, and when Jordan gets introduced in the books as a character, Cassandra writes something really controversial going on between him and Maya that, in a way, could be viewed as promoting abuse, as far as I'm going to say. And I don't know where I stand in it. Well, I do know where I stand, but I can't really talk about it without giving away what happened in the books. So, yeah, Jordan as a character is very difficult to kind of dissect until you know what goes on in the books between him and Maya. But since he hasn't really been introduced completely into the show yet, I'm not going to really go into much depth about him. As for Bat, I don't really like Bat either. I like in the show that they're giving him more character and personality. I enjoy him in the show. I didn't enjoy him in the books at all. Again, I can't really talk about why, because then I'd have to go into what goes on between May and Jordan as well. But yeah, in the show they seem to be giving him more personality and more reasoning for Maya to grow to like him. And obviously she understands what he is going through, because she went through it as well when she was turned when she didn't want to, you know. So I'm definitely interested to see how the show's going to play this off as well. When it comes to the mistakes that Cassandra Clare's books created, I'm always interested to see how the show fixes it, because the show has done a great job of fixing a lot of the problems that the books have. So, again, I'm really fascinated to see where the show are going to go with Bat and Jordan. I hope they don't go the way it did in the books, because then it makes Bat's character pointless and Jordan's character really problematic, and not problematic in the way that it's like, oh, they do problematic things. It's okay to have a problematic character as long as it's recognized as such. It is not recognized as such in the books, and his interactions with Maya just makes that even worse in the books. So I want to see if the show will fix that, and I'm really interested to see where they go with that. Yeah, and I really liked seeing Maya talking about her transition into being a werewolf, and how these little bits and pieces, like, you're really hungry when you turn back. So I can't wait to see more of that. I really like seeing Maya opening up more like this, and I hope we definitely see more of it, especially with Simon, because Simon's a good listener. Simon's probably the best person to talk to about these things. So it makes her relationship with Simon even stronger, and it gives us a little insight into her history, which is always nice, because it makes you enjoy her more as a character if you know what she's been through. Mary Sue Frey strikes again. How did Clary know that Sebastian was hurt by that stone? Did I miss something? Is it just me? Me and my friend Haley asked this as well. How did Clary know that Sebastian had been hurt by that stone? When I was watching the episode, I was just thinking about how glad I was that she caught him so he didn't get out of the institute after doing what he did to Max. Well, he got out anyway, but he didn't get out without revealing who he was. And I don't know, I just don't understand how Clary knew that the stone hurt him, because did she see his hand? Did she get a glimpse of his hand? Did I miss something? To me it just came off as another Mary Sue Frey. Clary knows everything. Let's put her in charge of making sure that the demon, the really dangerous demon, doesn't get out, even though it's her brother and she could easily get an emotional attachment and refuse to hurt him. But no. Who knows? Let's just let her be in charge, because it's Clary. Ugh. There's nothing worse. One of the bad things about the show was how Mary Sue Frey Clary is, and it's getting exhausting and a bit lazy, and they need to write her a bit better and give more reasoning as to why she does these things and why she notices these things, instead of just going, oh, she just did. Oh, it's Clary, she just did. Yeah, so that was something I didn't like. Let's talk about Luke's partner again, because I mentioned this a bit in First Thoughts, and I want to elaborate on it more in Fair and Unbiased, because Luke's partner is really starting to annoy me. I said this in First Thoughts. She is invasive, she is intrusive, she's a bit rude as well. I don't like her, and a lot of the reasoning that people seem to have for liking her is that she is in a relationship with a woman, she's gay. And as a gay woman myself, I would not like to think that people only liked me because I was gay. I feel like that's very insulting, and I would rather people looked at my personality and how I treat people as opposed to just being like, oh, she's gay. I know she's really like weird and intrusive and invasive and rude to people, and she never leaves anyone alone, but she's gay, so that makes her nice. That is not how people should be viewing these characters. We want gay characters on the internet, on like shows and stuff, and the internet. We just want gay characters everywhere to be treated normally. Everyone seems to make it about their sexuality. Like, oh, that character can't be a villain because there's a history of gay characters being villains in media. And it's just like, just because there's a history of gay characters being villains in media doesn't mean that there's never going to be a villain gay character ever again. You need to look at them as a character and the villainous things that they do, not who they want to fuck. That's not how it works. I literally had an argument with someone on Tumblr. I am going to make a video about this eventually when Shadowhunters Season 2B is over. But I had an argument with someone about this on Tumblr. It was about a different sort of medium. That's why I'm not mentioning it here, because it's not exactly about Shadowhunters. But they were saying, like, oh, it wouldn't be so bad if it was a straight couple. This thing that we were arguing about was that there was two problematic gay characters, and their literal argument was, oh, I wouldn't care if they were straight. And you're like, what? Why does that matter? Am I missing something? Is it me? Seriously, guys, am I missing something? Because I just don't understand. I don't understand why we view characters as their race or their sexuality or their religion or their ability, their mental or physical ability. It's not about that. It's supposed to be about their personality and how they treat others and how they are as a character and how they are presented in the medium. We shouldn't be looking at characters as, oh, that's the gay villain, or oh, that's the lesbian heroine. That's not how things should be going nowadays. We should be accepting every character, no matter what their race or sexuality or religion, and just accepting them as they are, as long as it's not being presented in a way as, oh, aren't gay people evil, or oh, aren't this religious person evil. As long as it's not being presented in such a way, then I don't understand what people's problem is with admitting that a gay character may be annoying, or may be bad, or may be a villain. I have no problem admitting that I don't like this woman. I can't remember her name. I can't even remember her name. I just keep referring to her as Luke's partner. I don't like her, and her being a lesbian is not going to change that. She is an annoying character. I think she is going to grow into being an antagonist, because I feel like it's going to be at risk of revealing the fact that werewolves exist. So she's a villain. She's kind of a villain. Maybe it'll just be one of those things where she's the naive human, but the naive humans bother me as well. So yeah, I don't care if she's gay, as long as they're not going like, oh, she must be evil because she's gay, or she must be annoying because she's gay, which Shadowhunters is not doing. I have no problem not liking her, so I don't like her. And anyone who likes her just because she's gay, can you please reevaluate how you view characters, because that's not good enough a reason to enjoy a character. So yeah. Finally, Clary destroyed the mirror. I had an idea that this mirror was a decoy, obviously, because I read the books, and it's revealed that the mortal mirror, is Lake Lynn, and that's what Clary's visions were about. That's what the whole Lake Lynn thing was all about. The mortal mirror is Lake Lynn. Yeah, not much else to say there. I feel like it's just going to turn into a race against time to who can get there first now. So yeah, we're definitely heading in the direction of the conclusion of City of Glass, the book, because that's where City of Glass sort of headed near the end. So yeah, we're moving on from City of Glass, just going on City of Glass's end. They did say that season 3 will be more of City of Fallen Angels territory, and they're going to try and move away from the books, which is always good. So I can't wait to see more of that. So that's it for this week, Shadowhunters, Angels, and Darkmounters alike. I'm sorry about this format, but I've been really sick, and I'm not even like saying that for like sympathy points, but I have been, and I even feel sick talking right now. But I did promise this video, so I do try to keep my promises wherever I can. And I know, and this isn't a shameless plug, but I know a lot of you guys don't follow me on Twitter, and if a video doesn't come up, I would normally tweet there the reason why. And since I know that not a lot of people follow me there, I tried to get this video out anyway, so I do post updates to my Twitter if anyone is interested. You can find the link on my YouTube channel. So that's it for this week, Shadowhunters, Angels, and Darkmounters alike. I'll see you next week for episode 19, Hail and Farewell. We're nearing the end now, guys, so I'm really interested to see what the climax is going to be. So I'll see you then, and remember, being gay doesn't make you a good character. Being a good person with good morals, good personality, and the way you treat others is also a good thing to evaluate as well. So yeah, imagine me doing my thumbs up. See ya.